Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I'd like to show you how I made this little gift bag. I had a gift that I needed to give to somebody, and I was kind of digging around for gift bags, and I was looking at one that I had, and I thought to myself that it probably wouldn't be that hard to figure out how to make, and I'm sure others have made them. And I used this Inside the Lines designer series paper that was in Celebration, and if you're like me, you stashed up a little bit on this. So I did these and I put them in my class, and it really is quite a good sized little box. The dimensions on this box are that it is 2 inches wide, and let's see, in the end it is just shy of 6 inches tall, and the width on it is like 3 3/4. So 3 3/4 by 2 inches by 6 inches tall. That's a pretty good sized little gift bag to get out of one single piece of paper. So I thought I used it in a class that I had just this weekend, and everybody seemed to really like it. And I used the timeless tags to create a little tag for my gift bag. And so I thought I would just show everybody exactly what we did to make this little bag. So I'm going to set it aside here, and I am going to go ahead and make it up out of the same material. This is another 12 by 12 sheet of this Inside the Lines, and one could color this and do all kinds of things, but I thought it was pretty attractive just the way it was to make a nice gift bag. And what a nice thing to have on hand for making little giftables. All right, so this paper is very directional, and I want this to be the top of my box. This makes a really pretty gift bag. So this piece of paper needs to be 12 by 8 1/4 inches. So let me move that into the frame there. And so I'm going to set this at 8 1/4 inches here, and then the designer series paper is 12 inches, so that automatically gives me my cut. So there we go. We've got 12 by 8 1/4, and then I'm making a little liner for the bottom of the, I'll show you in here, for the bottom of the gift bag. And then it's also got this detail where the pattern goes over the edge of the gift bag. So what I need is one that is piece of paper that is 3 3/4, and this piece that I lopped off is almost exactly 3 3/4. In fact, it's just a little shy, which is perfect because I want to cut it just a little bit shorter so it'll fit in there easily. And it's 2 inches so wide, so I'm going to cut this just a smidge under 2 inches and get this little piece of paper here that will line the bottom of our gift tag. All right, so scoring on this, and you want to score on the pattern side. And so let's see, the first score is at 1/2 inch. Let me get my blade out of the way so I don't make that kind of a mistake. Make sure that I think that's all on there so you can see it. So I'm going to score at 1/2 inch. Okay, once that score is done, I'm going to turn it around the other way, because now I need to score it at 4 1/4. And again, this is designer series paper, not cardstock, so be gentle with your scoring. Then I'm going to go to 6 1/4, and this is all on the long side, 6 1/4. Then we're going to go out to 10 inches, and that's going to leave me 2 inches on this end. Okay, now we're going to score on the short side, and I want this to be the top of my bag, so I'm going to score this end at 3/4 of an inch, And keep in mind, I'm using this particular designer series paper. I have quite a bit of it. I went a little nuts when I was ordering and have a lot of this paper, so I'm trying to use it up, but certainly any designer series paper would work. Then I'm going to slide this all the way across to where it's 1 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going to score it there. Okay, and that is all the scoring. Now I'm going to turn this over so you can see, and I think this way you'll be able to see all of the scoring on here. Okay, hopefully I didn't dig too deeply on some of that. We're about to find out. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is start cutting and notching. All right, so I'm going to start here at this 1/2 inch score line here, and this little tiny rectangle at the top, I am going to just cut that away. I'm going to cut away the one at the bottom on this side as well. So cutting away that little rectangle. And we just don't need it. Now on here, I'm going to miter the corners on this little edge. This is our tab to close our box up, and it can be mitered. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is go along the top. I like to do my cutting before I do my folding. It just seems to work a little bit easier for me. So I'm going to miter this end. I'm going to cut this one and miter on both sides. They don't have to be big miters, just a little bit. Okay, I am going to, in fact, you can just cut your miters and skip the cutting up the score line business. And so I'm going to miter each of these. And when you miter this way, what you're really doing is taking out the score line. And I'm going to miter this edge as well. Okay, so this is what you should have at this point. Now, along the bottom, we are going to cut these flaps on the score line up to the first horizontal score line here. And you're going to have 2 long pieces and 2 short pieces. Okay, now, the way the box closes up, this flap here, which is opposite your tab, I think you can see that, so opposite your tab, this flap down here is the one that closes up the bottom of the box. Just to be safe, I'm going to fold that one up, and I'm going to miter the rest of the corners. So again, not a huge miter, just a sliver. It just makes folding up the flaps a little bit easier. Oops, I didn't get that all the way up to the corner. Try that again. By the way, happy Easter, everyone. I hope you had a pleasant and productive day. Lots of times I have family over, and I decided everybody was on their own this year, and I did yard work. I'm afraid it wasn't terribly exciting, but good and relaxing stuff for me. Okay, so miter these flaps here. And again, not a very large one, just a little piece, little wedge out. And I'm going to miter this edge as well. Okay, so when we get done, let me get rid of all these little pieces here. You should have something that looks like this. So the mitered edges are on all edges except this one flap. Okay, now I'm going to fold all of my score lines, and again, this is designer series paper, not cardstock, so I am not going to use my bone folder to burnish. Your fingers are more than enough, because if you get too aggressive, there goes my sign, the paper may tear, and that's the last thing you want. So I'm going to fold all of these lines. And you'll notice I scored on the pattern sides of the paper that I wanted to show on the outside of the box. And that's so that you can fold your and burnish your lines away with the valley side out. You can see how this is going to go together here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, while I have this easily accessible, I'm going to use a little bit of fuse. You could use tear and tape. And I'm going to just put a little bit of fuse on each of these tabs here. And it doesn't matter where on here you get your tape or your fuse, because all we're going to do is fold those over on the towards the inside of the box, and that's going to give us a pretty little edge on the inside of our box as you're looking at it from the outside. I think you can see that. Got an edge here. And isn't that fun? We captured the dragonfly here right on the front of the box. Wonderful. Okay. All right. Now what we're going to do is put some fuse on the pattern side. So the right side of this tab, as close to this edge here as we can. And if you're using tear and tape, then you can do that. I'm not getting that very close to the edge. There we go. All right. And if I've cut my box right, I should be able to fold this over and fold this, and it should line up, making sure that this is flush. There we go. Here we have our box now. Now, on the side, on the flap here that we didn't miter, to close this box up, what we're going to do is fold the tabs in, fold this over, and then fold this shut. And that'll help us get our box to straight. Now, you can put some glue on these inner tabs. I didn't do that on this one because I'm using fuse or tape along this edge here, and I am going to just lay down a few lines of that, get my box as straight as I can, and close this over on itself. Okay, there we go. Now you'll see on the inside of the box, you can see the flaps. So what I did was I used this, let's see, that one's out of tape. So I used a little bit of just snail on my piece that I cut out of the bottom. And what I'm going to do is set this in the corner and kind of roll it across the bottom and see if I can't get it to sit exactly where I want it on the bottom of the box. So pardon my head if I get myself in the shot here. And then you can lay it in place. And because I cut it about a 32nd short of the 2 inches and the 3 3/4, it fits right in the bottom, and I think that's a nice little touch. Okay, so on to the handles of the box. The other thing that I used is I just used some black satin ribbon that I happen to have, and I cut 2 lengths of it right at 11 inches. And what I find is that when I'm doing the handles on this box, the good thing to do is have my 2 pieces of ribbon roughly the same, and then I'm careful about how I tie my knots so that I get what I'm looking for here. Now I'm going to use my 1/8 of an inch handheld punch here, and what I'm going to do is use my ruler and a pencil, and I am going to mark this is 3 3/4 eyeball it. What I'm going to do is, this is a 4-inch mark here. So I'm trying to have the ruler be off the edge of the box to the same distance. So enough of a margin on this side and this side so that I can mark at the 1-inch mark here. A mark with my pencil, and at the 3-inch mark with my pencil. So roughly they're equidistant from the corners here. And what I'm going to do is bow my edges out and marry these two sides up together and put my punch in here, and I'm going to try and go through both sides of the box at this, or the bag, at the same time. And I got it through. Now let me do the same thing on this other side. All right, there it looks like. And you can see my box is split here, and that's because I scored it a little too firmly. And so that's what happens when you get carried away with how firm you're doing this on designer series paper. Now I'm going to push this back the other way to get a little crease in the top of this bag. You can have a more gentle hand when you do yours. Okay, so there is the box with the little holes cut. And what I'm going to do next is, let me move some of this stuff out of the way here, is I think I'm going to use from my scoreboard here, and I'm going to push this ribbon through one of these holes on this and pull it through, and then I'm just going to tie a little knot on the end here and push this through, and then I'm going to gently move that knot down as close to the edge of this piece of ribbon as I can, right next to the end, and then I'm just going to trim that off so that I have a nice neat edge. Now some people in the class did their handles across this way, but I thought I liked them better when they went in and on the same side. So I'm going to do the same thing, push this ribbon through, grab it, and tie a little knot, and then kind of move it down to the end of the ribbon to get it as close to the end as I can. And this is just to stop the ribbon from being pulled back through the little hole. So there we go, right close to the end. Then trim this to neat it up. There we go. Let me get rid of this little ribbon fuzz. Okay, so now my ribbon on this side is done. And there I've got my ribbon, and you can turn this in place so that your ribbon lies the way you want it to on the side of your bag. Okay, so I'm going to just do this second part here. Exactly the same thing. There I have my ribbons tied, or my ribbons attached to the box, and because I made them the same length to start with, they're pretty even on my little box here. Okay, the next thing I did was I have two pieces of paper. one black and one white. And I used the die set called Timeless Tags. Now these are in the Occasions catalog, and I believe they're being retired. So we've only got them for a little bit longer, like a month. And my experience is if something gets popular and it's going to go away, if you want one, you better grab it because they go fast. I was going on to order something that's being retired the other day and they're already all gone. So you have to act fast when you want this. And what I did was I used this little tag here that is the plain tag, and I placed that on the white paper here. And then I used, you have some choices here. I used these little leaves and set them down here in the bottom of my tag to run through, and I could have used the butterflies or the stars, and either way they look just great. So what I did was I ran this through the Big Shot just this way on the white, so that I also cut out the little flower design at the same time. And this is what you get when you do that. I'm going to put that on here so you can see it. And then I ran this piece, this die again, through on black and got a plain black one. And I'm going to use this to back this one, and I'm not going to glue them together. I'm just going to let them hang together, and that way I continue the black and white motif here. So let me move those out of the way. And what I used to secure this tag to my bag, what I have here is a little piece of baker's twine that is the black and white twisted together. And this die cuts out the hole. So all we really need to do is make a little slip knot here, and I am going to push this loop through the two holes that have been made here. There it goes. Okay, and so I'm just going to use a slip knot here, and I'm going to pull these through here and just pull that tight. And what I did was I then put my tag here on the box, and I just tied it up tight around one of these ribbons on one side. And what I'm going to do is put it on the side other than the dragonfly, so the dragonfly will show. And so I just tied this tag on here with a double knot right up against the end, and I trimmed the edges and left the little edges here on the twine, and there we have our project. It's a fast and easy project, and if you don't get too violent with your scoring, your box will stay pulled together. But this, I thought, was just the cutest little bag, and it makes the gift, whatever you're giving, pretty special. And something that is 6 inches by 2 inches by 3 3/4 is really a pretty good sized little box. And so I have done a couple different ones out of the different designs here, and you can do it out of any designer paper. In fact, our other designer paper would be even more interesting because it would have another pattern on the back side, which would be very interesting as well. So thanks so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. You can purchase the Timeless tags and lots of designer series paper until the end of May from either the Occasions catalog or the annual catalog. We'll be getting new ones soon, and I'm very excited. There's some wonderful things coming. Anyway, you can go to my site, which is www.lbedinger.stampinup.net. And if you don't already have a demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. Or you could join my team. Also, please subscribe to the channel and you'll get notification every time I put up a new video. To join my team, Stampin' Up's offer is $99 for $125 worth of product. And then you also get another $40 in product from me for joining my team. And you can get immediate discounts on all of your supplies and or start a little business for yourself. In any case, I'd love to have you join me. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll be back with more projects. Bye!